Righty ho. Righty ho ho. Righty ho. Just making sure that everything is working. Are we working? Yes. Yes and yes. Looks like we're live on all platforms. Oh my god. That took a little bit. We don't need that one.
We don't want to. Okay.
And it's still trying to catch up. Here we go.
Catching up.
Welcome, welcome. What is today? It's Thursday.
Who are we? Who are you? Phyllis? I'm Unicorn
My name is
Amber.
Phyllis.
Yeah.
This is Unicorn Amber, and I'm Cabresca.
Phyllis
King.
It almost sounds like Cabresca Phyllis King.
It's not though.
No, it's
Anyway,
how are ya?
I'm good, thanks. How are you?
I'm good. It's been a long time.
We just did a really funny thing on TikTok. If you want to check it out, you should. It's pretty funny. They have a lot of TikTok filters which are, pretty crazy. And we just decided to do the Muffin Man one, which is pretty funny.
Yes. We
Yes.
look beautiful.
Beautiful.
Mm-hmm. We look so beautiful.
What are we going to talk about today on Creative Talk?
On Creative Talk today, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to talk about the end of the world.
Well, it's pretty much the end of the world. If you have been living under a rock, AI has taken over the complete, utter universe of everything. And we've been covering off AI for a couple of weeks now. We did a podcast previously around the good, the bad, and the new that's come out around AI. And this one, we're going to be sharing and talking about AI again, but this time from a different perspective.
Okay, what's that different perspective?
We're gonna watch an interview with Elon Musk. If you haven't been watching any of the news lately, but Elon Musk has been in the news quite a bit, mainly around the actual, what can I say? Mainly around the concerns of what he thinks is one of the biggest problems with regards to AI.
Mm-hmm.
He talks about it being way too advanced for our civilization. He talks about the dangers of the big tech companies who are jumping on board, actually doing it too quickly, and also that it's not regulated.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a lot of concerns out there from his point of view, and considering he was one of the guys that actually helped make it, I reckon they should listen to the guy.
Scary. One of the guys that helped make it is now saying that it's too powerful. That is scary.
Yes, he says, actually he says a lot more
Low.
than just that. He says quite a few things. So what we're going to do is we are going to watch the details around this particular live interview that he did with Tucker Carlson, who you may like him, you may not, doesn't really matter. We're going to watch the interview with Tucker and Elon Musk and go through the details of this particular interview for everyone at home. So if you haven't watched it, we're going to watch it. It's only 6 minutes, so it's not that long. But what it does give you is a pretty scary insight from the guy that helped create AI as to what his concerns are, and also what your guys' concerns should kind of be as well with regards to this new technology that is completely taking over the world. Pretty crazy. So let's watch this.
Because there's no way to, this gets rolling, there's no way to slow it down. What do you think of that?
Well, the really heavy-duty intelligence is not going to be distributed all over the place. It'll be in a limited number of server centers. If you say very sort of deep AI, heavy-duty AI, it's not going to be in your laptop or your phone. It's going to be in a situation where there's like 100,000 really powerful computers working together in a server center. So it's not like subtle, and there are a limited number of places where that can happen. In fact, you can just look at the heat signature from space,
Yeah.
and it'll be very obvious. I'm not suggesting we go and blow up to server centers right now, but there may be it may be wise to have some sort of contingency plan where the government's got an ability to shut down power to these server centers. Like you don't have to blow it up; you can just cut the power.
So right there, Elon is talking about the server centers. Those are the places where you would have the internet connected to the powerful
The Nevo.
ChatGPT, the AI, or any AI. And what he's just said is that we need to have some type of backup plan with which to cut the power to these just in case it goes crazy. So basically, you flick off the switch without the AI being able to stop it. Otherwise, it could continue to do really bad things.
Yeah.
So he carries on. He carries on.
And what would trip?
Or cut connectivity as well. That's another way.
Right.
Yeah.
But what would trip that switch, do you think, in your mind? What would be the threshold that you'd have to pass to warrant the government cutting off your power or cutting off your signal?
Well, I mean, I guess if we lost control of some super AI, like for some reason, like the things that would normally work to do a passive shutdown, like the administrator passwords, if they somehow stop working, where we can't slow down or you know, I'm not sure, I don't have a precise answer, but if there's something that we're concerned about, and are unable to stop it with software commands, then we probably want to have some kind of hardware off switch.
Yes.
I think, you know, can't hurt.
Have you talked to, since you know Larry
have one,
Page,
yeah.
and you obviously you know the OpenAI guys because you started it.
Definitely have one.
Have you talked to the people who run the biggest AI companies about this recently?
I haven't talked to Larry Page in a few years because he got very upset with me about OpenAI. So when OpenAI was created, it did shift things into it from a unipolar world where Google and DeepMind controlled, you know, like I said, 3/4 of all the AI talent, to where there's now sort of bipolar world, or OpenAI and Google DeepMind, and they're and now weirdly, it seems OpenAI is maybe ahead. So I have had conversations with the OpenAI team, Sam Altman. I haven't talked to Larry Page because he doesn't want to talk to me anymore for a few years.
Can I ask you just about, since you've been around a lot of this, the thinking? So why would anyone not be a speciesist, be human-centered in his thinking about technology? Like, what's the thinking there?
I think what he's trying to say is that, if I were to guess, that all consciousness should be treated equally, and whether that is digital or biological.
Who's saying that? That other dude.
Larry Page is saying that.
So who's Larry Page?
Larry Page is the owner of Google.
So he's saying that humans and AI intelligence should be treated equally.
Correct.
Right.
Yeah.
Then-
So Larry is saying a robot should basically
Oh, man.
be treated as a human and allowed to make mistakes like a human and be supported like a human and be completely treated in the same way. And Elon and him had a disagreement because Elon was like, no, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Because it's not a human.
No.
It's a robot.
Yeah.
And it's a very powerful robot. It's not just a robot like an ATM where you punch in your numbers and you get some money and it only does one thing. ChatGPT can do frickin' anything. And it's connected to everything. So that makes it already more powerful than any prime minister that's ever existed in any time in the world. They have the power to do anything. And considering how connected our entire world is, it's very interesting to hear the man who made AI say that there needs to be some structure around protecting it for us humans.
Okay.
Concerning,
What else
right?
did he say?
It's concerning.
Crazy.
Right, we'll watch the rest.
You disagree.
I disagree, yeah. Especially if the digital consciousness, or whatever you want to call it, digital intelligence, decides to curtail the biological intelligence.
Right. So you're just building your own slave master, and why would you do that?
Doesn't sound great. Yeah, I mean, we should at least, no need to rush, you know. Look, what's the hurry? Where's the fire?
How, tell us about the hurry. So I know you've been talking about this for years, and on the sort of the periphery of our attention, we've heard Elon Musk talking about AI. But for most people, it's been like 3 months since they've had any interaction with this at
Yep.
all.
3 months.
So what's the timeline here? At what point does it start to really change our society, do you think?
I think it starts to have probably an impact this year. GPT-4, now it's like writing poetry, and
Pretty decent poetry, actually.
pretty decent. Its
Yeah.
skill at rhyming is incredible.
Yes. Yes. And it's coherent.
Yes, it is. It's even got a narrative. Like, so
Yes,
you've got
that's right.
Yeah. So you could say
That's hard to do.
like most humans can't do that.
That's true.
So it's already
Oh, man.
Did you hear what he just
Yeah.
said?
It's
He
so-
just said that this thing can actually, and it can actually. It can, because we've tested
Write
it.
poetry.
We've tried it. It can write poetry, but not just write poetry. It can write better than some of the best journalists in the world.
I know. That guy, that reporter there, Tucker Carlson, is thinking, shit.
I'm out of a job. So it can write better than some of the best people in the world. It can write probably better than some of the best authors in the world, and it is better at doing it and faster at doing it.
Yeah. It can write better than the general population. So people are just going to get so dumb. And I'm going to tell everyone about my boring dream the other night that you think is so boring. But I actually dreamt of ChatGPT, and
Welcome
I was at.
to Amber's randomness.
Okay, listen. This is relevant, and
Okay.
you're on my podcast, so you have to listen. Our podcast.
Sorry, everyone.
No, it's relevant. I'm
Okay.
dreaming about this because it's a nightmare. And then whenever I have nightmares, I go back to school.
Go.
I go back to school or I go back to uni. Usually it's school. And then I have projects to do. This one, I had to write 10 essays in like 2 days or a day or something like that. And then people around me were like, use ChatGPT, use ChatGPT. And I was like, no, I'm going to use my brain. And then I was stressing about it. I was like, no, I'm going to use my brain because even in my dreams, I don't want it to take over.
So the moral of your story and this random piece of information is taking us to
Use your brain. That's what it's taking me to.
use your brain, says Amber.
Use your brain.
Here's the problem, Auntie. No one wants to.
Yeah, because they're so lazy.
No one wants to use their brain. That's the reason why we have technology in the first place, because we're just too lazy.
Yes, and you know what's going to happen? I said it before. They're going to get to the stage where they're like, oh, how did we lose
All right.
everything? And how have we blown up the world? And how are we now being taken over by robots? How did we get here? Oh, maybe we should have listened to Emma when she said, use your brain.
Definitely
But
listen
no.
to Amber. Don't listen to the AI. We're early stages too. 3 months. It's been out for 3 months, and already it is
More intelligent.
AI is not just more intelligent. The numbers that people that are using it, to give you some context, it took some of the bigger. It's outdoing all of the social media platforms ever as far as numbers of users using it on a daily basis. To give you an idea, it took Netflix like 2.5 years to get 1 million people like to use the platform. It took Twitter around 2 years to get 1 million people. Instagram about 3.5 months. Facebook around 2 months, 2.5. And it took ChatGPT 5 days.
To get what?
1 million people using the platform. So that means people are already using this faster, quicker, and easier than any of the other social media anythings that has ever existed, because it's more useful than a Facebook post or an Instagram post. In fact, it can do that for you if you wanted to. It's pretty powerful.
What I want to know is something we were talking
Very
about
powerful.
earlier is how come it's free? How come it's out there and free?
Oh, we'll
What
get
are
to
they
that part.
actually doing?
Well, let's watch the rest of this,
Yes.
and then we'll go through the questions that we
That's
have.
the point of what most humans can do. Most humans cannot write as well as ChatGPT. And they certainly, and no human can write that well, that fast, as to the best of my knowledge. So
It's going to
maybe
fuck him out of a
Shakespeare.
job.
How can you have a democracy with technology like that? I
Can
mean, if democracy is, government by the people, each person's vote is equal to every other person's vote. I mean, and people are choosing their votes freely. Can you have a democracy with this?
Well, that's why I raised the concern of AI being a significant influence in elections. And even if you say that AI doesn't have agency, well, it's very likely that people will use the AI as a tool in elections. And then, if the AI is smart enough, are they using the tool, or is the tool using them?
Are they using the tool, or is the tool using them? You see, this AI technology is so good that it can replace humans. Never before has there been a technology that can actually outdo humans in their work, in their creativity, in their productivity.
Well, there kind of has. I mean, we went through it with the Industrial Revolution, and then with internet coming along, and that got rid of a lot of other people as well. But this is probably way faster. Like, it's going to happen way faster than those things took to integrate, because it takes time to build machines to take over people. Whereas this is already built, and it's just like everyone has access to it already.
But those particular advancements in history, they were advancements, yes, and there were people that lost businesses or lost their means of being able to provide for families, etc. This is a complete revolution, because it's kind of like taking us out of the dark ages and into electricity, like in 5 days. Electricity took a long, long time for it to be integrated into society. Even steam-powered vehicles took a long time, like years, for it to develop and get better and better. This particular system can actually update itself
That's
hourly, daily, by the minute. And the more humans use it, the more they ask it to do things, the better it becomes at it and the faster it learns. And if you've got even just 1 million people that were using it back then, and that was like after 5 days of it launching, that was 1 million. It's been 3 months. I would say the numbers are around 100 million.
No, I'd say they're in the billions.
The billions? There's only 9 billion people on the planet, and not all of them have internet access. But I would still say that there's a huge, huge influx of people using it. It's everywhere. Everyone's talking about AI. Everyone's talking about Open AI and ChatGPT. And now,
what's the difference between OpenAI and ChatGPT?
OpenAI was just a term that Elon Musk coined when he developed AI, because to him, when he created it, OpenAI was supposed to be open, as in being able to be used by multiple people, multiple companies, networks. He wanted it to be used freely. So he coined the term OpenAI. ChatGPT is one of the services that OpenAI uses, which is a fundamental text script AI bot where you can type in anything you want and it will do it for you. People didn't think it could do amazing stuff, though. They didn't think it could write contracts. They didn't think it could produce artwork. They didn't think that it could write poetry. They didn't think it could write full articles or books or blogs. They really just thought it was a question and answer scenario like Google. And if you haven't used it, not that we're telling you to use it, because obviously Amber's anti-ChatGPT, but if you haven't used it, I would do a side-by-side comparison on asking Google the question and answer scenario and see what you get from ChatGPT. We did it over dinner one night around lemons or something like that. Like, we asked it about the history around a particular abstract thing like lemons. And we got this massive 4-paragraph answer from ChatGPT around the history, what lemons were in different regions, where they were made, all this different information. And all we got from Google was pictures of lemons. So there's a big difference. There's a big difference in this technology. And rightly so, it looks like Elon is like, he's quite scared of what could actually happen next. So scared, in fact, that he's now looking to create another AI.
To take it down the original AI?
Well, to actually counter it, yeah.
What?
To actually counter it.
And this is how the robot wars begin. Because there'll be people on the side of Elon, and then there'll be people on the side of the Google guy, whatever his name is. And then they will be fighting. They'll be like, my robot's better than your robot. My robot's going to kill your robot.
That's what just happened with Larry Page. And Larry Page is the owner of Google and Alphabet. So he's a multi-billionaire like Elon. So these guys, they have the power. that can create these technologies now that basically make us slaves to using it and push it out into the public because they own half of the world. And that's quite scary, especially when they don't agree. Like if Larry Page, a billionaire, doesn't agree with Elon, a billionaire, they will end up having two different systems that go against each other. And what Elon's trying to create is an AI that regulates
You know what he should call his
and
one?
keeps it safe.
He should call his one Sarah Connor.
Oh my god. Hardly anyone watching on TikTok will even know what
Look,
Sarah Connor is.
Okay, if you're watching now and you know who Sarah Connor is and what reference that is, what movie that's from,
Oh, don't say anything. Be just as old as we are.
put it on the chat. You will win something.
You'll win something.
I'm going to give you this. An Intel bottle.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Hopefully
It's nice of you.
you've got some more left.
Oh, hopefully we've got some.
Yeah.
I actually don't. I think that's the last one, but that's all right.
Oh,
It doesn't matter. You can
or
give
else
it away.
I'll give you
Let's give it away.
a Glow by Amber mug.
Oh, that's a cool prize
Yeah, I
too.
didn't bring it.
Have you got your mug?
Oh, I haven't.
Oh,
I've
you
got to
didn't
do
even
my
bring it.
unboxing and stuff.
Ah, yes. Anyway, back to AI. It is pretty scary. Elon is creating a new AI with which to kind of monitor the current ChatGPT arena. Mainly because it's probably quite scary to see just how fast it's growing. And what he's trying to tell people is that it doesn't need to grow that fast, doesn't need to be used that often. We really need to step through this particular advancement. It's not something to rush it. And it's already better than us at launch. If it's already better than humans at launch, going back to Amber's point before, how come it's so freely
Yeah.
available?
Something's going on there.
Like, if it's better than humans at launch, how come it's readily available
Yeah.
for everyone in the world to just like go
you know
and
what's
use
going to
it?
happen? So they're either going to do this because nothing is for free. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but it took them 10 years. And like, have you seen those, like,
Original one.
no, the government kind of hearings that they've had with Facebook and TikTok around privacy?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that took like a decade.
No, yeah.
So how long is it going to take, and what will happen before they go, oh, AI is really bad. Maybe we should do something
No,
about
you know what
it.
they're going to do? They're going to go, because nothing in this world is for free. You always have to pay. They're going to either pay now or pay later.
That's true.
And so it's going to be like paying with our freedom or paying with our brains, or I don't know. The next generation's going to be so thick that they're going to be like dumber than, and like
They're going to be dumb.
a snail or something, you know, like I was going to say dumber than a dog, but dogs are actually brainy. So, you know, it's going to be something which is like, I think even snails will be brainy.
But would you say that our generation is dumber than our parents' generation?
No.
Would you say that like my son's generation is dumber than our generation?
I think they lack the skills with which to find answers
Do basic
by
stuff
themselves.
like researching and
yeah.
asking questions.
Yeah, because I've grown
I'd
up
agree.
with the internet. Whereas
I'd agree.
we had to look and go to the library, go to read books, go to encyclopedias,
Go use a microfiche
go to use the microphone.
in the library.
So I think we've got better researching and problem solving skills than the
Yes.
current Gen Z generation.
Probably because we had no technology with which to find or
Yeah.
use information. These kids today, they have the access to the information, but they don't even know how
Yeah.
to use it.
That's what gets me. I don't understand. Are they not learning that in school? So, like, if you're using the internet all day in school, do they not teach them? Okay, this is how you do a search. Like, what are they?
No, I don't
what
think
are
they
they
do.
teaching?
No, I really don't. I like to your point, what you just said before. They're not growing up with this in fundamental skill sets as our generation did. They don't ask questions. They don't have a formula with which to search or research. So why would they know how to use it? Because they don't know how to research
But you know what? It's our fault that they're like that.
because we made the technology.
Yeah, it's our fault that they're lacking in
Mm.
skills in that department. So imagine when they have kids, how they'll be good at, like, I don't know what they'll be good at.
I reckon they'll end up using the technology to talk to each other without talking to each other.
Yeah, they'll just be
Be like,
talking to robots the whole
Hello. Hello. How are you? I'm good. It's going to be like
No,
that.
I don't even think I feel they're gonna lack those um interpersonal skills anyway. Like they're not even gonna care if they say hello, how are you? They won't even ask those
No,
questions
that's
anymore.
true. That's very true. It's gonna be an interesting time for AI going forward. And as Elon said, he thinks it's gonna take hold of people's jobs and change the landscape of humanity within the year, which is pretty scary. But considering what's happened in the last 3 months, I think he's pretty
Yeah.
accurate.
Yeah, if it's built up this much, and then a lot of the platforms that we currently use for our business
Yeah.
have started to integrate AI, and I've just seen one in the last few days,
Yeah.
which yes, I did a little test to see how good it was, and it was actually not bad.
It's pretty
So
damn good, eh?
That's two of our platforms we use on a daily have got AI integrated now into their thing. So it's just going to be in everything.
Mm-hmm. Some stats around AI and how far it's come within the last 3 months. Already, they're projecting that this industry of AI will be worth $7 trillion by 2025.
Who's getting all the money? That's what I want to
2025.
know.
Well, it will be partly going towards some of the developers who actually created the AI, because you have to think, who were the companies that invested into ChatGPT
Exactly.
to then allow it to go public for free?
Well, Frank.
Because before anything goes public, it has to be certified.
But does it?
Well, that's, just look at all the AIs that there are. This is Futurepedia.
Yeah.
If you haven't looked at it, this is Futurepedia.io. Think of it as the Google of AI. If you want to know anything about AI, and no, we have not been paid by these guys to do this. We're basically just showing you how big this is. If you want to know anything about AI, you can literally go on Futurepedia.io. There's over 90,000 AI different platforms you can now use. Some are free, some are not. It will help you do literally anything. You still need to be a human to use it, though. But it's pretty damn good, man. It is super, super good. Like, I was using this one, Munchia, the other day, and it's so damn good. And I was using another one for, like, content. And at the moment, I'm testing to see, like, how good this stuff is. And I have to admit, it's scarily good.
Yeah, even I had to admit, like I did
I have to
some,
admit it.
I look for quite random things because I try and like catch
She's
it out.
random.
No, because I want to catch it out, and some of the things did not make sense, but some of the things actually didn't look too bad and didn't sound
What's
too
your
bad.
percentage on like good output from the AI versus bad output?
Oh, look,
from the AI?
I've got a very high level when it comes to copywriting, like text, because
Amber's Google.
because I'm a copywriter by, that's what I trained in.
Yeah, it's true.
So my level of in writing is high, I would say. So that for me is, I look to, if the stuff is repetitive or it doesn't make sense, then I'll deem it like, nah, it's not good.
Yeah.
But when it comes to
What's
imagery,
your rating?
depends on the platform.
Well, just give the
I
copy
would
platform you've
say-
tried, and what's the rating?
The Canva AI for text is okay.
I thought it was crap.
Yeah, it's quite low
Compared to ChatGPT, I
others.
thought it was crap.
Well, I actually haven't used that many because I can use my brain to write, so I don't use copywriting apps. But images is what I have been looking into lately, and I
And?
just looked at a new one today, which
And what's your rating on images then?
is it Feebly? Feebly,
Evelyn.
not bad. It is pretty good. Yeah.
So, as in being pretty good, you would currently use something like, if you compared
I
it
would
to
use
Canva,
those on social media.
you would use it on social.
Yes,
It's that good.
because
There you go. Just
yeah.
replaced a human creating
yeah,
images to be put on social. Someone just lost the job.
yeah.
There's going to be a lot of people that are going to lose jobs over the next 24 months. I will be absolutely serious about that, because as a business owner, you start looking at the point of, do you want to have a massive team of 50 people who
Which
do
is
all these
costly.
random jobs, which is extremely costly. You have sick leave, you have super, you have employment training, you have staff equipment and fitting out. Like there's so ongoing support and management. It
Yeah,
costs a
it's
lot
a lot.
to have staff. Then GPT comes along and you can literally have a staff of 30 with one robot.
Yeah.
Now, that's going to change the game.
Yeah.
Cost
But-
versus human. We talked about it in our last AI podcast. It's looking more and more likely like that's going to be a thing.
Yeah.
And
That's
the
why
really
they know.
silly thing is humans, us right now, are the ones that are
Yeah.
feeding the machine
Yep.
with which to then replace ourselves.
So going back to what I was
That's
saying
pretty
earlier,
stupid.
yeah. When you're all like sitting there with no money going, "Oh, what happened? We got evicted because we couldn't pay our rent. Well, that's why, because
Pretty
you were
stupid.
feeding the AI and it took your job.
That is so stupid. Thank you so much, Chloe, for dropping by, and thanks for the love on TikTok. Lovely to see you. It's stupid because I don't know why humans would want to replace themselves with a
Yeah.
technology that literally makes them redundant. But by
You know-
using it on a regular basis, that's
But
what's
you
going
know
to happen.
what I think people feel it is? It's like, oh, it's just this cool fad. Just like the internet, was like, oh, it's just a fad. It won't
Yeah.
last. And then, hello, here we are. No one can do anything without the internet. So
But-
it'll get like that.
But we've advanced a lot since then. It's not the same approach as like when the internet came, there was no internet before then, right?
Mm.
So we weren't even ready for the internet. No one's brain who had worked in the last 20 years, and remember, this is back when faxes were the way to send
Oh, yes.
messages. So there was no email, there was no chat messaging
No, you had
instant.
to call people.
There was
or you
no,
saw them in
there was
person.
telephones on cords. Like this is a very different era. Then you move it into internet and you come up to like today's era. We can now use the technology and internet and the power of the technology to create businesses, create content, do heaps of stuff globally, run global teams like ours, and literally live in an office and run the whole thing from your office. So that's a big shift, right? From being able to do that. So people won't take as long, I think, to adopt AI because we're now an internet culture.
Yeah.
So I think whereas it took us 20 years to integrate internet, it will take us 12 months to 2 years to integrate AI. But the problem with AI is it's going to make a lot of people redundant in jobs. Creative industries, media industries, man, even lawyers, doctors, real estate agents,
Journalists.
like anything that you actually need to do a paper job to and communicate online with, which let's be honest, most of our jobs are these days. Yeah, you should seriously be looking at whether this thing can actually do your job. And I've been looking at it for a while, and a lot of the stuff that we do can be done by AI.
Can be.
It can't create the ideas though. That's the
No,
one thing
and-
us humans still have.
Also, it doesn't have a soul. So
Well, yes, doesn't have a soul.
when we know from creating campaigns for our clients or, even creating things for our own business, we put our heart and soul into it and it comes across that way. But an AI it doesn't have that. So it's just going to be like this cold thing. It's like very methodical, like a machine. So if you want that, yeah, go ahead. But I don't think it's going to be able to create and go above. There's going to be holes that the AI can't fill.
I find it quite, the answers are great. There's a lot of information. And when it writes articles or when it writes blog posts, there's a lot of info. So if you are a journalist already or an editor of a magazine or a newspaper or any media company, or even doing social media posts, I find that it writes it faster than anyone else. And then your job is going to probably change from being the person who writes the content to a person that edits it so that it has a
That's
bit
what
of soul.
the human will be.
Has a bit of soul in there
Because what I was finding,
because it misses that part.
yeah, what I was finding with the copy, like the writing, is that it would get, the more you asked it, the more repetitive it would be. So it's not actually thinking of, like a human brain would start thinking of alternative ways to say things. This kind of started to repeat and repeat and repeat.
Which platform were you using though? Because that doesn't happen on ChatGPT.
Oh,
You can literally have a conversation like you're having a conversation with a human, And if you start a subject, say like, show me about lemons and write me an article on lemons and the cost comparison between Africa and like Brazil lemons and how I can save money. It'll do all of that research and write the article. And then if you don't like any part of that article, you can actually talk to it about that piece and it will change it.
Really, like
Yeah, it's that
talk or
good.
tell.
Oh, like type. You have to
Okay.
type.
But they will be talking soon, right?
Oh yeah, I think eventually it'll be as simple as like instead of "Hey Google," it's just gonna be like, "There's my phone going off." It'll just be like something really stupid that is voice activated, always on. And if Elon has his way eventually down the line, it'll be an AI chip embedded in your brain.
See, he is a funny one because he is this guy that's like saying that we need to regulate this AI, but then he's like, oh, all for putting a chip in your brain.
See, Larry Page called him a speciesist. That's what that whole specious part was about because Larry Page called him pro-human, which he's
Fuck
like, well, I'm
me.
human.
We
You
shouldn't-
should be
yeah.
pro-human.
Like it shouldn't be like humans and robots on the same level and then animals.
Yeah, but
Should
Larry's a
be
different kind of guy. He values output
Animals.
and he values like quality of work. And so in that respect, right, if a machine can do it better, he would go, machine's better. Let's look after the machine. Do the work to look after the machine. That's the kind of guy Larry Page is. If you haven't really learned a lot about him, he's a different kind of guy. Very
just thinking of
robotic
the
himself.
money.
Yes, interesting times, people. Interesting times. AI is here to stay, though. That's the big thing that we know. It's not going anywhere. It's actually going to grow over the next years. And these 90,000 platforms that we've had in the last 3 months, I would say they would quadruple. I would also say from my my the three biggest things that I think are going to be game changing for industry wide, any industry. Large corporations are going to downscale. They're going to fire people, a lot of people. There's going to be a lot of people out of work. In the next 24 months, there's going to be a massive job
Even more
firing
than they have been
taking
doing.
place.
Redundancy.
Redundancies are going to be epic. There's going to be a high unemployment rate. And it's because big, large corporations will adopt this technology into their company. We already know of some that have already integrated it. And it will replace staff. So that's a big one. Second one is it's going to replace the way that we interact with one another with regards to information and content, and it's going to make that seamless. And I think people are going to change the way they think about big business, as in you don't need a team of 50 people anymore, and you could just have 3.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the power of 3 or a small team is going to be way more powerful and effective than having a massive, massive suite of people that half of them probably didn't even go to work anyway.
Especially not during COVID lockdown.
I think the last thing it's going to be, this is more of an investor point of view. Over the last 15, 20 years, all of the money for startups and information and technology has been going towards Internet of Things, which is based around platforms. Uber, Spotify, Facebook, Instagram, etc., etc. Now, with AI, I think a lot of the money for investment is going to go into these AI startup groups because that is where the future of the money is going to be. And because it's an AI tech company, a lot of it itself is based on AI.
Mm-hmm.
So you don't have a huge amount of investment that has to go through into like these large Facebook teams. Like they had so many staff developing and coding that was most of the cost of the funding, and that's where they used to spend it. Whereas if the AI is developing the AI, your team is smaller,
scary.
the funding is cheaper, and you still make money. Big changes.
So you know what you need to do.
What's your
You
3
don't like-
predictions apart from end of the world and everyone's dumber? Is there any?
I don't have 3 predictions. I've got 3 suggestions.
3 suggestions. Okay,
Yes.
what's your 3 suggestions?
So my suggestions, if you don't want to live in this world of AI, 1, you have to go either like live in a third world country where they don't have internet because there'll be
like
very
off grid.
off grid, or like, you know, like places in the Amazon, they don't have internet, or like Africa, or places that are so remote that they already are living off the grid. That's their normal because they have only just got access to electricity, for example. They don't have internet. So you won't be as affected in those regions because people are still doing business in person. People are working different kinds of jobs. They're not sitting behind computers all day, every day. They're like working the land and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
That's my first suggestion.
That's a good suggestion. Second one,
Second one would be just
don't use it.
don't use it. No, second one would be find a job where there is
No AI.
no internet. No, you need to use the internet or AI, whatever that is.
Lots of cleaning toilet jobs.
Yeah, or being a chef, something like that. You don't have to use AI because you already know the recipes. You could create the recipes because you are creative and you're already a chef and you know how food goes together.
Have you seen those robots that are doing McDonald's though in US?
Yeah, see, no, just
So
no.
eventually they'll
Just
be here too.
and so that's my second suggestion. Third suggestion would be to find like-minded people and create a community where you ban all that kind of stuff. So it's
Ooh,
almost
ban the tech.
yeah, you
community.
ban the tech. So it's kind of off grid, but you have come from a place like first world, you know, like and you all have enough money where you can go to somewhere, set up not a commune, a community. It's not one of those. Set up like a community where you actively do not participate in AI, internet. You know, like you just kind of go back to basics, but you create this really nice way of life.
Those are pretty good suggestions, actually. And if you had a community like that, I probably wouldn't live there.
I know you wouldn't because you can't do without the internet.
Without internet, I would be
know.
like useless. I wouldn't be able to survive. I'd probably like go crazy, to be honest.
would.
I'd be there just fishing in the pond. I'd be like, "It's really boring." I would lose my shit.
But then you could engage in
Lose my
other
shit.
games. So instead of doing
Or
Fortnite,
like tiddlywinks or skipping.
no, you could
Or
you know,
like, oh, let's go for a run, Barry. Yeah, that sounds great. Let's
you'd
go.
be super fit, and you could do like
Be super fit, but bored out of my brain.
No, you could do like what are those courses called? You know, like the ones where you have to run and jump. So instead,
But you'd have
like,
no technology, so I'd have to learn the course by like writing it down and
not
reading
that
a
kind
book.
of course, obstacle course.
Oh,
And so
obstacle
like
course.
a real life Fortnite, you know, like obstacle course.
Kia ora, Jimmy. Yes, you did.
And then yeah, like an obstacle course where you can like go and run and race and do things with other people,
Yes.
you know, like
Yeah,
you would
that's true.
create that. And
That's
then
true.
it's kind of like, you know, if anyone has watched like what we're watching now, The Last of Us, which is based on the game,
Oh, yeah.
and
If
like Walking
you
Dead,
haven't seen that series, you should watch it.
Yeah.
It's so good.
Walking Dead.
Let's go. We're talking about AI today, Jimmy. If you just tuned in, talking about all the good, the bad, and the ugly. It's pretty scary stuff, mate. If you are interested in AI or even using AI,
Yeah,
Yeah, there
and
was
but there's no.
an interview
I
that
say no.
that featured Elon Musk, where he talked about all the things he's worried about. So we covered that off in today's podcast.
I'm giving suggestions on what you
Yeah,
should
come
do
back
to
through, Jimmy,
not-
anytime. Yes, Amber's talking about the doom and gloom, creating new societies with no technology.
Yeah.
I'm saying I'd be absolutely bored if I
No,
was
you
living
wouldn't, because when you were a kid, come on, there was no internet. You are that old that you are okay.
I
You
am
were
that old.
around
That's true.
before the internet. What did you used to do? You used to go outside and play games.
I watched this thing on TikTok, and yes, I used to go out and climb a tree. I watched this thing on TikTok which showed me kids playing outside today, and it had 3 kids, and they were all standing
I don't
outside.
know if they're
And
kids,
one
they're
kid
like young
was just
adults.
standing in the driveway looking at the grass. Another kid was trying to do TikTok dances with no TikTok phone, so literally practicing TikTok dances. And the other kid was like hitting this leaf on this tree. It was just like,
I reckon they
Good
just
stuff.
actually drugged
they had
in
no idea what to do with their imagination. It's almost like that's been taken away from
Yeah,
them.
and then that's why AI is going to take even more of that last ounce of imagination that kids have.
But
'Cause, you
here's-
know,
Here's the thing that I think will never be able to be replaced by any kind of robot,
oh,
at
that was
least-
like
at least for the next 5 years, maybe.
what is
You
it?
can talk about it. You can talk about it. So
Become a
my one
healer.
thing is that they will not be able to. Oh, that's
Yeah.
that the robots cannot do is they cannot create an idea from scratch. meaning that the AI actually needs a human input in order for it to create. So if it doesn't have the idea from you, it doesn't yet have the ability to create ideas yet. Because I do think eventually, if you combine all the AIs together and all the stuff that it can do, it will work out that it could create its own stuff. And when it does work out that it can create its own stuff, we are in a bit of a Terminator scenario there. Because then what happens if it goes, humans are no longer worth being here. I'm going to create my
kill
own
all
human.
the humans.
or something like that. Anyway, who knows what's going to happen? Amber thinks the world's
I
going to be
know.
destructed.
Look, I know.
Oh, here we go.
I can see. Look, I'm a psychic. I can foresee the future, mate. I know what's going to happen. I will get to the point that there
Look,
is no
Jimmy
other options.
says-
Yes, exactly. But you know what, Jimmy? By the time that happens,
You're right, Jimmy.
we won't be able to shut it down because it'll be too late. It
You're right.
won't have an off switch by then.
And Elon Musk talks about that very thing in his interview with Tucker Carlson, where he says that as a precautionary measure, as humans, we need to have an off switch, which basically turns it off, or at the very least, like we disconnect it, and we're disconnected. Our society's disconnected. So if we can't shut down the power to it, we disconnect ourselves so that it can't run our stuff. And it's that what's scary is they haven't actually thought about that before releasing it
No,
on the
it's
public,
like,
because
afterthought.
everything runs on the internet, the power grid, the banking system, the the airplane system, the controlling of the traffic lights, like the subway system, like your internet banking and purchase it. Like, hello, stupid people. If you unleash a super highly intelligent robot out onto the world and it uses the internet, pretty sure it can do whatever the fuck it wants. And it won't even have to tell you. It'll just do it.
It's sitting there right now going, humans are dumb.
That's a good question, Jimmy. Is where is it based and who owns it?
Yeah.
Well, this picture might actually tell you. There was a picture here that I had which had what's his name? Oh, Bill Gates and Elon Musk. But it's also Larry Page. Actually, you think of all the top companies that own most of the stuff. Here you go. Here's a picture. This one right here. These guys own it. They're one of the many, actually. A lot of the corporations have
No, it's
already
that guy on the right,
invested.
the St. John ambulance. He's the one that runs it.
Well, no, it's not that guy. Look at that guy. Take the first aid kit. I think he's the reason why AI was created. Some are individually run, Jimmy. Yes, you're right. They are. Not all of them are under the mainstream. With ChatGPT, though, that is pretty much like Elon was 50% shareholder and owner of it. Yep, evil Gates.
Yes.
Jimmy, you should come back.
Exactly.
You sound like our kind of guy.
You know. If you know, you know, Jimmy.
So that brings us to the end of our Creative Talk podcast for this week. Thank you so much for joining us. Jimmy, thanks so much for being here. And we hope you've learned a little bit about AI. Let's be honest, it's an amazing piece of technology. It's super creative and really making it quite easy to replace people's jobs, which then in turn makes it quite scary. It's also unregulated. It's also using the internet, the same thing that you use to do your job. And it's currently not being monitored, and it's also financially backed by some of the most powerful people in the world. Now, if that doesn't concern you just a little bit, maybe you should have a think about it before you use it next.
Yeah.
Or join Amber's community.
Look, see, Jimmy's going to join because he's going to find a spot in Palmerston North and go back. See, Jimmy? That's what I was saying
Do it,
before
brother.
you jumped on.
Do it.
Go to a place where there's no people and no internet, really remote, and then you won't be affected so much by AI and create your community. Palmerston North is a great place to do that.
B-Town's also got like best, volcanic
Pies.
type of grass and
Oh.
earth. You can grow whatever you want down there. It's pretty damn good. That whole area,
Go off grid.
King Country, it's bloody awesome.
See, he knows.
I used to live down there. Long time ago. Actually live in, not Palmerston North, because my dad was in the military. So, been many years.
See, you know what to do
Many
with
years.
without the internet. You lived in Waiuru. You didn't even have shops.
That doesn't mean I want
Right?
to go back to Waiuru. You know how boring that place was?
Yeah, but I think
I used to
there's
watch
beauty
Tussock
in.
roll down the street.
Dun, 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 dun.
Tussock. I'd be like, oh, look, there goes some Tussock. I gotta go. Another
Uh,
piece of Tussock. That was my PlayStation, Tussock.
You can make some obstacle
Tussock and-
courses out of the
and-
tussock.
And chopping fucking wood. That's
There you
what,
go.
That was my life. Tussock and wood in school. Ah, the joys. Now that military camp in Waiuru and also Linton Linton's the biggest one, but Waiuru's been completely shut down.
Is it?
Gone.
That's
Gonski.
because people like you complained about the tussock and then no one else went.
Thank you guys so much. Been over to Whanganui. Yeah, I have, brother. Wanganui. Some say Wanganui. Some say Whanganui. Depends which region you're from.
Whanganui.
The guys in you're Whanganui. Where I went to
Wanganui,
school in
yeah.
Ohaguni, they say Wanganui.
Because they've dropped the H.
They do. It is with an H though.
Wanganui.
And where I'm from in Hawke's Bay, on East Coast, we would say Whanganui.
Same.
You're from East Coast. Oh, we're not related. We worked that out already.
Look,
just in case
I
you're
don't
wondering.
I don't consider Hastings the East Coast. It's Hawke's Bay.
Oh,
I'm East Coast. Look, Jimmy, let's
what are you doing?
over
You
this.
can't put that on, Jimmy. He's not from that
My
region.
family's from Bay of
Jeez, this
Plenty.
girl.
My tribe is in Whakatane, Bay of Plenty, which is East Coast. Hawke's
The
Bay is
bossy
down
ones.
the other side. Look, Jimmy answered. I want to see his answer.
I'm just
Jimmy,
Good on you, Jimmy.
we've
Yeah.
got a name for
Always
you now. We'll
agree,
call
nod your
you.
head,
We'll
say
call
yes.
you Himiona. That's the Maori name for Jimmy.
Himiona.
Yeah.
Why are you naming him Māori all of a sudden?
Because
See, this is what Amber does. She just creates stuff and then puts people in scenarios. Welcome to my world, people. Anyway, it's been great to see you all for Creative Talk. Another week of fabulousness on AI and all things to look out for. If you have any questions or if you want to know more about AI, if you want to use the platforms and check it out, check out Futurepedia.io. It is one of the biggest, most powerful platforms on the planet. Pretty scary what it can do. Thanks so much for the follow there, Jimmy. Appreciate your support, my friend. And hopefully we get to see you guys again. Ka kite until next time.
bye.
Righty ho. Righty ho ho. Righty ho. Just making sure that everything is working. Are we working? Yes. Yes and yes. Looks like we're live on all platforms. Oh my god. That took a little bit. We don't need that one.
We don't want to.
And
Okay.
it's still trying to catch up. Here we go.
Catching up.
Welcome, welcome. What is
Look,
today? Thursday.
Who are we? Who are you? Phyllis? I'm Unicorn.
My name is
Amber.
Phyllis.
Yeah.
This is Unicorn Amber, and I'm Cabresca.
Phyllis.
Phyllis.